Ashley.
Hi, Cindy.
Hey, guys.
Hey, this is Ashley.
And Cindy.
This is Life for Dummies.
Because we're real dumb.
You guys have no idea. So, what are we going to talk about today, Cindy?
I thought we should talk about, do you listen to your gut feeling?
Okay, should you listen to your gut feeling? Make sure to watch until the end to get all of the reasons why you should.
Yeah, and maybe, or you shouldn't.
Good point.
Yeah.
Why don't you get us started?
Well, you know, when I was out there using an active addiction and acting out on all these behaviors, so I would get this little feeling, right? Like something's not right. And then instead of removing myself from the situation or stopping doing what I'm doing, I would just continue on oh, it'll be okay. It'll be fine. Those aren't red flags. That's material to make nice dresses with, right?
What are you talking about, material?
I just didn't think that a red flag was a thing. I was like, oh, it'll all be okay. It'll work out.
You're so funny.
It's all good, you know? And now that my mind has cleared, I'm living in my higher power's will, my life is nothing like it used to be. When I have a gut feeling, I listen to it today. And I know that I should listen to it today. Whereas before, I was afraid to listen to it because it's taken a long time to figure this out. But because it was well, I didn't want to disappoint or upset anyone by setting a boundary or saying no.
I love that because I call it intuition today, but it is that raw gut feeling, right? And it's myself intuitively speaking or trying to. And for me, I don't know about you, but I'm a firm believer in all this. And honestly, I can walk by somebody in a store or in the public and get that feeling get away from this person as quickly as possible. And I do, man. I trust my gut today.
Yeah, and what a great thing to be able to trust your gut, right? Who would have thought that would ever happen? Not me. It's crazy, though. You know, I just think about the situations and the places I would put myself, and the inside is screaming don't do it, get away. And I'm oh, this is a great idea. We should go. This is gonna be great. And nothing great ever came out of that.
Why do you think we just totally ignored that gut feeling and pushed through into really dangerous situations?
I think it was a lot of fear. You know, we have talked about on here before, that fear will keep you stuck. And the fear of actually setting a boundary, saying no to somebody, maybe causing a confrontation, maybe, not doing something someone wanted me to do. I was so afraid of standing up for myself. I had no self-worth, no self-value, that it was, you know what, it'll be okay. It'll all work out. I'll be all right.
Yeah, I had to rationalize a lot of it because I felt like crap most of the time in those situations, and I didn't enjoy how people treated me. And I would always have to rationalize it so I had one up on them in my own mind, which was probably total delusion. But it's what kept me sane. Otherwise, I probably would have ended up in a mental institution.
Oh, yeah. I mean, probably we should have been there one time. I mean, I'm not going to argue about that. But, yeah, the thing is that it has taken a long time to get to the point where I can trust my intuition or my gut, where if my head and heart align, then I know I'm in my higher power's will, and that these are things I should be doing, or if I get that feeling, these are things I should not be doing, these are people I should not be around. And today I can trust myself to know that I'm living with my best interest at heart, and that's a great place to be, honestly, where I'm not harming myself anymore, because that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, putting myself in super dangerous situations and hanging out with people who are doing pretty sketchy activities is a self-harm. It is a way of self-harming, because it's anything in those situations could happen to me, right? Like, I remember putting myself in those situations outside of the country. I could have been kidnapped. I could have been sold. Like, I could have never seen my family again. Like, not thinking through and allowing myself to listen to those gut experiences, if I don't do that, I could end up in like a really bad way in this life.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, when I think about my active addiction, like, I did end up in some pretty shady places with some pretty scary people, you know? And that just seemed normal to me. Like, that was completely okay, and that was acceptable to me. Whereas today, like, I respect myself today. I have self-worth, I have self-esteem, and I know that I do not need to lower myself in order to feel better about myself. And that's a big realization to come to.
Yeah, I remember like being in one relationship with somebody who was so dangerous, and this wasn't the only dangerous person that I had been in a relationship with in my active addiction. But every time I would go visit this person, I would leave a goodbye note in my car because I didn't know if I was going to come back alive.
I am just speechless right now. Holy wow.
And I kept going like day after day to go hang out with this person.
Seemed like a great idea, right?
Isn't that insane?
That is insane. Literally insane. So here's the message. If you are leaving a note for people because you're like, hey, I might not come back alive, maybe you should really start thinking about who you're hanging out with and what you're doing. And maybe you should think about respecting yourself and loving yourself enough to set boundaries and not put yourself in dangerous situations, and listen to your intuition. Because you know what? It's telling you the truth whether you want to hear it or not. Those red flags are not material to make dresses out of. They are red flags for a reason. Run fast the other way.
Or sometimes you just have to hide. Like, I'm thinking of this other situation, and I had this really bad gut feeling. And so what I did is I turned off all the lights in the place where I was, and I huddled into a corner of the room, and I called somebody who I knew, and they came. And it did turn out that thankfully, like, I would have been dead if I had left that room, because when that individual came to rescue me, he walked by on the outside of that property, right outside of the door that I would have walked out to, a big van with a big white van with shade all around it so you couldn't see inside of it. There was one light on in the middle, and individuals were there, and it had been backed up waiting to just pull me and throw me into the van as soon as I walked out of that building.
That's terrifying. Wow.
Yeah, so I listened to that gut. If I hadn't have listened to it, there's so many situations where I would not be here today. It's really important for you guys to listen to that gut feeling. This is why we're talking about it. We understand.
Yeah, I mean, for many, many years, I beat that voice down, and I didn't want to listen to it because I was afraid. I was in fear. And it's like, thank God you listened that one time, you know? But here's the news, like, you can make a choice right now to start listening. At any moment, you can do the next right thing and get the next right thing in return.
We love you guys, and we are here for you to show you the way that we've already been so that you can get everything that you've always wanted.
We're on all the socials. Check us out. We love you.